is all of this nonsense? I'll let you know. Hold on a second. Okay, so this is a 1977 house. This is whenever this was built. That's whenever all this was installed, obviously. We had this 30 amp breaker. It kept tripping for some reason, so I figured it was just a bad breaker. You know, not a big deal to replace as long as you can find it. So it tripped one day and we didn't have any problems. A day later, maybe 2 days later, and this is where the dryer is, and so wife had the dryer going and we had the stove going, which is both on I think maybe the same circuit, I don't know, but anyway, so we had that going and it tripped it again, so it went off again. So we flipped it back on, and we figured we just won't use the dryer and the stove at the same time. So didn't have any more issues. Then the next day I guess it was that same day. It was later that day because that was about 11 o'clock in the morning. So or right around lunchtime, I guess. So later that night, you know, I had flipped it back on and we were just using the dryer. Came out to the garage and I smelled that that burning smell, the electrical burning smell, and this is what we came up with. This had all kinds of you see the goop. So that's like the electrical pixie dust liquid form. It decided to boil it all out. So yeah, this was at that point it was at 400 and something degrees. I think it got up to 404 or something. But these other ones, I mean, you can kind of tell they're not too bad, but you look down at the bottom of this bus bar deal and you can see that it's pretty toasty too. I did what little I can do. I checked the connections, make sure they were all tight, and they were all tight, because sometimes if you have a loose connection it can cause heat and arcing and bad stuff like that. So I double checked on everything. So looks like we gotta have the panel replaced. Obviously I'm not an electrician, but yeah, this thing got hot. It was up on the ceiling. I mean, you could see the, actually, let's see. Now this is on the outside of the wall. Is brick. So the way our electric runs to our house is it's underground, and it comes in through this main box. It's a smart metering box or whatever. It's all electronic or wireless or whatever. So anyway, so all on this, you can see this is the electrical box right there. That's the brick wall. That'd be all in this area, kind of right here. And it was so hot it was heating up that brick. We're really blessed that we caught it in time. Otherwise, that's for sure would have burnt the house down. At least the garage. And come on, guys. I mean, that's where all the fun stuff is. Even though it's all messy, that's where the fun stuff is. Well, the electrician's here. We're gonna go to 125 amp, and then we're gonna go. We're gonna get another empty breakers, and I think we might run a 220 volt thing. So, all right, y'all comment right. We'll get with you later.
That number goes up?
Yeah. Good morning. How are you? Had better days.
I know it's me, Brian.
Right.
Nice to meet you, man. Anthony is my name. What's going on, young man? How you doing? Good. What's your name?
Bryce.
Bryce.
Yeah.
All right, nice to meet you, Bryce. Like I said, that old Zensko panel, man.
Yeah.
This is, unfortunately, this is what they put in these houses, and then trying to find parts for them since this stuff is obsolete.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you've had one replaced. You
Yeah.
probably knew that wasn't like your regular get it off the shelf type.
Yeah.
Lock Supply carries it, but they're proud of it.
Uh-huh.
And so, okay, so we're gonna, like I said, if we want to go ahead and do this, we're gonna pull this out, put you a new one in here in the same location.
I'll move all this stuff.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, man, because it'll be tough for me to work around this stuff, Bryce. But yeah, if you just move like your
Yeah, I'll move all this. I'll stick this over
press
here.
and everything.
Yeah, I think for one of those, one day, I'd like to run another one to over here.
What, another, just a regular
Yeah, just an outlet.
20
Because
amp outlet over there?
I'm using a power outlet,
Right.
which goes from
There.
there.
That strip.
Yeah, it goes from there to over here.
Right.
Because I don't have anything on this wall.
Right.
But yeah, it goes from there, and then there's a smaller power strip over there, and that's mainly where I use stuff, and then from
Right.
there to the back up there. So I know you're not supposed to have all those, but
Nah, you want to kind of do away with all those cords. How you just feeding this off of this?
it's plugged into this one over here on the right. Over here. This one right here.
Oh, okay. So you got a power
And-
strip there and that box.
Yeah, so basically that one stays on all the
So
time.
all of this stuff you're just getting from that
From
plug
that
right
one
in
plug
there.
right there, yeah.
This too?
Yeah, that too. I know, crazy. But to be honest, over here, that's an LED light. I don't use a lot of power from right here.
Right.
I think that's
you
the
don't
only
have
reason
a
why.
problem with stuff tripping off or anything like
Yeah,
that?
it's never tripped off anything.
Okay. I mean, I'm just surprised with all the different
I know.
things you're using, but like you said, they don't really consume a lot. Plus,
Yeah.
you don't use
And I don't use
a lot
all of
at
them
the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I said, one day I think that's something I would like to do.
Okay. Well, if you like, what would you like? Like a plug over here somewhere under the bottom, or in here, or?
Yeah. Just probably under there. Or,
Under there?
It don't really
I
matter.
mean,
On top of there. Yeah, probably up there. Probably better.
it's up to you.
You know how much extra money?
Yeah, I don't know. Because I'm going to tell you, the job I gave you like the ballpark figure, which
Sure.
we're going to stay right in there.
Okay.
But there may be a couple of things I may just throw in for just because. With Dave in case.
Woohoo!
See, there's blessings, man.
Oh yeah. you know that's something that people, talking in church, you're like, what's your biggest blessing or whatever? I'm like, to be raised in a Christian home.
Yep, it is, man. It really is. Bryce, you understand that, man. That's the truth, man.
So I know if it wasn't for my parents, I mean, I wasn't a bad kid.
Right.
At least I don't think so.
But hey,
But
yeah, you want squeaky clean and all that, but I mean,
But
you
I-
try some things out, but
I know if I didn't have my parents on me all the time, and I know if they weren't praying for me all the time,
right.
I ain't no telling where I'd be
Hey
at now.
man, no kidding. I tell my daughter that, I said, baby, you just don't know how blessed you are to have parents that, that love God. And I said, man, we could be sleeping under a bridge somewhere. We could be drug addicts with no lights on and, all kind of stuff. I said, but you better understand who God, He blessed us with you, but
That's right.
He blessed you with us.
That's right.
So it all
Goes
works
both
together.
ways.
Goes both ways. So yeah, man, I've got godly parents too, and I know what a big difference it has made for me.
Yeah.
Even though, like you, I wasn't always squeaky clean.
Right.
I did a few things, but I know I probably would have been a whole lot worse if they hadn't put some seeds in me as a youngster.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Took me to church and shared with me about the love of Christ and really what it means. So anyway.
Yeah.
So man,
you know something? The preacher, I go down here to Heartland Community Church.
okay.
But like I said, if y'all were any closer, I'd be going to the gate. That's a great
Oh,
church.
it's a great church, man. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
But he said something the other day about without all these tests and trials and tribulations and all that stuff, we as people wouldn't have testimony.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man, whenever he said that, I'm like, oh, that's so right. Because there are people that, you know, I've been pretty blessed to live in a family that, you know, where we came from, we had hard times, but you know, we didn't have to struggle like some people did. And then there's other people, and you know, they have to struggle with drug addiction and alcoholism and all that stuff. And but the thing is that whenever they go to talk to another alcoholic or drug addict about Christ, they have a whole lot more leeway than I could ever get them, because you know, I came from a different style of life from where they came from, so they had that testimony. So, whenever he told me that, I was like, light bulb, like that. That makes all kinds of sense.
Yeah, boy. All right. So let me see that. Yeah, so whenever you want to start moving some of that stuff, I'm just
Okay. Again, he's going to rip this panel out. We're going to put a 125 amp circuit in there. He's going to give me a couple extra breakers. He's going to run a 220 volt 50 amp, but put a 20 amp outlet, and he's going to put it right here for the plasma cutter. And then if I ever upgrade to a 220 watt what do you call that, welder, so I'll have all that there. And then he's going to, okay, here's how I have this dangerously. Back there is a outlet. Yeah, back there's an outlet. I have an extension to here, and this runs the fan, this light, and the bandsaw. The other goes all the way to here and to here. This one is always on. Anyway, so I have this one here, so I can come over here and turn this on. It turns the light on. It turns the light on. I can use all these receptacles, which if you're doing something all at one time, or you're using like high amperage stuff, yeah, you don't want to do this. But the little stuff, you know, I'm using a Dremel. That's an LED light. The other stuff I might use, I don't know, just little stuff. But he's going to run another power outlet to over here, so that'll be good. It's going to be pricey. I wasn't expecting this, but it's going to be $1,900 to do all of that. So expensive, but it'll be worth it in the long run. So, all right, we'll catch you later. All right, so it took him a few hours to do this, but not too bad. Here's what we got. Pretty cool. This is going to be the 220 for over here. It's kind of funny. He was asking. He says, so you want to just drop it in the wall right here? And I was like, oh well, shoot, I thought you were going to run conduit. And he looked at me like that was the most ghetto thing he's ever heard. Anyway, so what he's doing is he asked me what kind of amperage I'm going to be running. And this has like a 20 amp plug thing, whatever. But I just figured if I ever upgraded in the future to either a bigger welder, MIG welder, TIG welder, stick welder, whatever, I want to be able to use it in this area here. Or if I ever got a bigger plasma cutter, kind of the same thing. So what he did was he ran 50 amp wire, or he hasn't done it yet, but he will run 50 amp wire behind the wall, but he's going to use a 20 amp socket, and he has a 20 amp breaker. So like I said, in the future, if I ever needed to go to 50 amp, all we have to do is trade out this 50, the breaker and the receptacle. So a lot easier to do, since the hard work is running that. And then I don't know why, but he wasn't too impressed with my electrical ingenuity. Try to do this without making you too dizzy. But he's gonna run cable up through here and then back behind the wall and drop it off up here somewhere. And that, yeah, that one will be a 20 amp breaker, normal, whatever. This was over here, but I'm changing it to here because I figure with all this stuff kind of might, it kind of goes together, right? Plus it's kind of, I have dead space right here, so I think that'll be a good spot for it. This one here, whenever he was messing with this, he went to flip this off and it never did turn off. He couldn't get it to turn off the main power. So that's how bad that one was. Yeah, you can kind of see the juice. See the pixie dust juice. I might use this. This I could use as a bus bar for, you know, the crazy cart or something else. Just kind of go over this if nobody really knows how the circuit breaker works. So you have your electricity coming from your power company, goes through the house to your circuit breaker, right? It goes in through your main circuit breaker from here, and then on this particular one it goes into this, what's called a bus bar, I believe is the name of it. But from there, this, you know, wire comes in here. This is what charges this bus bar. So everything that is connected onto these two connectors, this makes the connection between the two. This turns it off between the two. So this one's not touching this one. This one is touching this one. It makes the circuit complete. Which your wire from the house comes in on this side, goes throughout the house. Bada bing, bada bang, good to go. Your ground wires all come to a bus bar like this, and then that's how it's grounded. So, all right. With this, I don't think there's much I can do with that, but with this little box, it's pretty decent thickness. If all else fails, I have a nice flat steel that I can make a fairly light duty bracket out of, or something like that. So that's cool. So that's pretty much it, guys. Look for his information down in the description. I don't really want to say it right now because I haven't got his permission. I don't know why he wouldn't go for it, or would not want me to tell everybody. But awesome guy, and very professional work and all that stuff. So let me go over one thing. He's going on vacation tomorrow. The guy told me, he says, whenever I called him yesterday, well, whenever I called him this morning, he's like, man, he's like, the Lord will provide. He says, he didn't have anything ready to do today. He got his jogging stuff on, getting ready to go take a jog, and then they were leaving to go on vacation tomorrow. So they're flying out, going to Alaska. Pretty cool. So I called him this morning. He's like, yeah. So he headed right over here. He was here within an hour or so, something like that, and went in here, took pictures, got the information he need, took off, went and got all the stuff you see here, and worked his butt off. It's hot today. Let's see. So we can see how hot it is. Yeah, it's 95 right now. But so anyway, so he asked if it was cool if he, you know, this is the main thing. We're worried about the house burning down. We can't do any laundry, can't do anything like that without this. So he asked if it was cool if he could come back after his vacation and finish up this, which I had absolutely no problem with. I paid him for what this was worth, and then he told me to keep the money, and then once he comes back and finishes, I can finish paying. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, it's I don't have to have this, and I was kind of discussing that with him after he mentioned it. I don't have to have the 220 watt and the extra outlet. It's I've gone this long without it, so it'd be easier for him to come over some morning whenever it's nice and cool, or, you know, cool at 80 degrees other than 95 degrees up in the attic and all that stuff. So anyway, that's why he didn't do it, because he asked if it was okay. I said that's fine. Otherwise he would have stayed and finished it up. So just so you'll know that part of it. But yeah, comment, rate. We'll talk to you later. See ya.